All right, what is going on, you guys? Obviously, welcome into this Down to the Wire Fumblerooski and Pesky Pole Podcast special. I'm really glad to be on this special with all of these guys. Of course, joined alongside the main man, Robert Shelley, Adam Wright, CJ, and Justin Hill. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's going to be a great episode. For anyone who doesn't follow me, you can follow me on my Instagram at down.tothewire on Instagram for any updates regarding my show. I kind of do a very general sports talk, so if that is something you're interested in, I also do athlete interviews, so feel free to reach out to me on there if you have any interest, and go follow.
All right, very nice, very nice. And Robert, I don't know what you're talking about when you mention being the inventor of the Fumblerooski.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure you helped.
No,
we'll put it that way.
We sat in the middle of December in 2020. We sat.
It was December 9th when we launched.
Yeah, we
came up with the name in November.
For hours, and the name popped to me, and I'm like, that's got to be it. And you're like, I don't really know. I'm like, yes, that's the name. And it took like an hour of convincing you it was the name.
It's actually crazy. You look up Fumblerooski Podcast under over Google, we're the only thing that comes up.
Exactly.
So,
because I made sure you guys are the only one with the name.
It was a great name. And It's not even like there are some like other podcast names that are like segment names for some bigger shows like on Fox Sports, like 3 and Out, Pick Six, or like First and Goal. Like all of that stuff is like
that's too generic, though.
You'll find like 10 different things. But Fumblerooski Podcast, we're the only ones, and we show up on like 20 different platforms, including live right here, which we are right now.
Also,
and let's get down to the content that we have for tonight. So we have a fun special planned for you guys tonight. We'll put in some final predictions for the Super Bowl. We'll talk about our favorite Super Bowl memories. We have our fan box segment, which we'll talk about later on, and you guys will find out what that is in a bit. But first, I believe Brian, you have some prop bets to share for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So obviously, Adam, with the Super Bowl, there are a ton of different, obviously people are very interested in, things with the game. People are always going to say, oh, is Joe Burrow going to throw for however many yards? Is Cooper Kupp going to have a touchdown? But one thing that is always common with the Super Bowl, Adam, is that prop bets always run rampant, and there are plenty of them across this Super Bowl. Some of the classics, obviously, is, whether you believe or not, the first one I'm going to start off with is I'm going to try to go in order, as to the way the game goes. So, Adam and all you guys, do you believe that the national anthem for the Super Bowl is going to be over or under 2 minutes?
Oh God, who's doing it?
Her name is Mickey. Her name is Mickey Guyton. Now, for the past, I believe 11. I think 11 of the past 12 Super Bowls, it has been over 2 minutes, including last year's too. So what happened last year was they had a bunch of guys perform, and they even but when they did it, they had a rehearsal just hours before, and there was a person outside the stadium who recorded and timed the rehearsal, and Vegas had to take down the prop bet entirely because it was essentially kind of just like people then knew all the stats about it, so they had to take that down. So the one thing people are saying is that while it has been over for the past couple years, this singer apparently that's going to be singing apparently has a track record for singing the national anthem fairly quickly. So what do you think?
All right, how do we want to do this? Do we want to go around the world?
Do the Fumblerooski guys first, and then us.
Fumblerooski guys first. So how about Justin? How about you go first?
Will it be over or under 2 minutes?
Over or under?
Will it be over or under? It'll be over. People want to shine for their moment. It's the Super Bowl. Come on now, like you have to you live it once in a life, especially performing. You never know if you're ever going to perform it again. It's the fact. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
Before I lay out my prediction, what kind of sporting events has this other person sung the national anthem for? Because if they're doing the Super Bowl, maybe they'll be a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean, they could be a little bit nervous, but at the same time, these are trained professionals, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. But if they've never done the Super Bowl before, I mean, that's the biggest event possible to, do the national anthem. But I think I'm going to go over. I'm going to pick the over. I'm going to go with the crowd.
CJ.
let me preface this by saying I don't know diddly or squat about singing. I do not know who this singer is. I don't know who many singers are. But that being said, I'm going to piggyback on what my man Justin said about how it's like your moment in the spotlight. You know, you got to be extra careful, enunciate a little better. I think it'll go over 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm saying 100% over 2 minutes, mainly kind of on what these guys have said, but also this is going to be very stereotypical, but I don't care. When women do the national anthem, they extend it out. They really extend out those long notes. It's going to be over 2 minutes. No, if it was a guy, I'd probably say under, but no, it's over.
So we're going to start off this first part of the prop bets by actually agreeing with each other. I think that while Mickey Guyton does have a track record for singing, for having a very having a very short national anthem, it is the Super Bowl. I think that she is going to elongate it, and it will be over 2 minutes, and at least in my mind. Then usually right after the national anthem, what do you have? You got the coin toss. So the coin toss is, in terms of betting odds, it is literally a 50-50 split. Both heads and tails are minus 105. So I hope that I don't think that this will be as this should be as similar, but what do you guys think it's going to be, heads or tails? Justin?
It's going to be tails.
Yeah?
I think it's going to be tails, and the one that win tails is going to be the Rams, because the Rams have home field advantage. They're going to try to put up a way. Come on, it's the NFL.
Yeah.
Home field, what?
Adam, what you feeling?
What am I feeling? So what is it? So I'm sorry.
Heads or tails? Just heads or tails, Adam?
Heads or tails. All right.
It's literally a 50-50 shot. The coin is weighted. It's a perfectly weighted coin. Come on.
I kind of want to take these bets, because if it's a 50-50 shot, I would take that.
Yeah.
Let's go with heads.
Okay. CJ.
Heads. Matthew Slater demands I say this.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say the same thing. I as someone who knows, I'm a big Matthew Slater fan. He came and spoke at the school. I took a selfie with the man. I'm gonna go heads as well.
Tails never fails, boys. Tails never fails.
That saying is so old at this point. I'm sorry.
I don't care. When it's tails at the Super Bowl, I'm going to call you and I'm going to laugh at you. Okay, Kostiw?
You can go nuts. I'm just saying what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be heads. Just knowing the odds. All right.
That could be taken in a very sexual way too.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that.
Stop. But whatever. All right.
Tails never fails.
Following that, though, the next thing in order. Will the opening kickoff be a touchback? Whoever's the kicker, is it gonna, whether it's Evan McPherson or whether it's Matt Gay, are they just gonna bomb that thing out of the back of the end zone, or are they gonna let the teams take it out?
They're gonna let the teams take it out. It's happened. Like, you have to start a Super Bowl for the person running. That's the joy of it. Like, to start things off, it has to. You run on.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with. I'm actually gonna go with. It's gonna be a touchback.
Okay.
Now, if you're the Super Bowl, you're in the Super Bowl, you're feeling a little bit jittery. You don't want to let up a big play.
You don't want Devin Hester again.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to get Hestered, which is why I think they're just going to play it safe and go with a touchback.
Okay. I agree. I think that it's going to be a touchback as well. Rob, what are you feeling?
It's going to be kicked 5 yards into the end zone, but whoever's kick returning for whatever team isn't going to take it. It's just going to let it bounce.
Okay, so you're kind of going middle of the route. You think that they could take it out, but they're not going to.
Yeah, it's going to be touchback.
Okay, so Adam, this is one that I think that you guys as members of the Fumblerooski podcast obviously will appreciate. Will there be a fumble lost in the game?
Fumble lost in the game. Sorry, Justin Hill, you start.
You can go, Adam. I don't care.
All right.
And do you think, and if it's going to be lost, do you think it's going to be in the first half or the second half?
Ooh, so this is like a two-part bet here.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go with yes, there will be a fumble. Both teams have track records of turnovers, although interceptions granted, but that with the state of that Bengals offensive line, you never know. So I'm gonna go with yes, and it'll be in the second half.
Okay.
For me, I think there's going to be an interception or a fumble late in the fourth quarter, and that's going to decide on who wins the game.
Okay. I think if there's going to be a fumble, I think it's going to be early because I think that'll probably just be part of teams kind of getting, getting the kinks out, kind of getting all everything kind of set up. I think that if there is going to be a fumble loss, I think it'll be early in the game. I think that these teams are disciplined enough that they're not going to be trying to give it up in the second half of the game. I think that you could see not exactly rustiness, but I think people might just be a little too amped and you could see some stuff go sideways in that first half. But I think in the second half, they will buckle down. Now, obviously, we were talking about fumbles, talking about stuff like that. In terms of scoring, what do you think is going to happen first?
CJ and I never even got to go.
Sorry.
Wow, you're just skipping your turn by 2. CJ, go.
Go nuts.
Thanks, Robert. Appreciate you. So, I have 2 words for you. Cam Akers. Yes, there will be a fumble. And I think it's going to happen in the second half, but like early third quarter.
I was thinking the same exact thing. Cam Akers is going to fumble, but in the first half, and the fumble is going to be caused by none other than BJ Hill.
Okay.
See, I disagree with fumbling in the first half. I completely understand the logic there, but I think we're looking at it's going to be a much bigger stage. And the moments are going to be much more meaningful in the second half. And we have a lot of players who are playing in their first Super Bowl on both sides. And I think there's going to be some nerves, and we could see some players choking and, getting like fumbling the ball away. Cam Akers. And, and also it's not that I don't think Joe Burrow can hang on to the ball. My mistrust is in the Bengals offensive line.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So obviously we were talking a little bit about scoring. Obviously you were talking about people possibly choking in big moments. One of those areas could be down in the end zone. Do you guys think that there's going to be a safety in this game?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. No.
Safeties in general are rare, and I just don't think it's going to happen.
No, absolutely not.
Also, I would love to try and restore order in our answers. So could we go back to doing like Justin, then me, then CJ, then Robert, then yourself, Brian, just so that we can all answer, and it'll be more organized rather than just a chatter fest. All right, but do you have your next one?
Yes, of course. I got one more, and it's basically just that at the end of the game, obviously, whoever does win the Super Bowl, it's going to depend. And it's, obviously this depends on, whether the game does come, i.e. down to the wire. Kind of have to shout myself out there a little bit. So
no pun
obviously
intended.
In the final minutes of the game, is this going, when it's all coming down to the Super Bowl, people are going to be so pumped up, and usually players want to celebrate with their coaches. Usually that involves the famous Gatorade shower. Now, the question I have for you guys for the final prop bet is, what color of Gatorade will be used during the Gatorade shower?
Wow. I like these prop bets. This is a good segment.
The list of favorites goes, and now it goes, and this is the favorites in this order. It goes orange, none, and I'll explain why. I'll explain why none is second. Blue, clear. Yellow/green is the same odds. Red/pink is the same odds. And then finally, in last place, we have purple.
Justin?
It's going to be orange because that's the Bengals color. I feel like with orange Gatorade, in my opinion, because I love orange Gatorade, including blue, I feel like orange Gatorade wakes you up more. Indeed.
Yeah, I think it's going to be orange.
Here's the thing though. You would like to think that, but apparently over the past few years, it hasn't been as orange Gatorade. The color of the winning team hasn't been the color of the Gatorade that's been there, and this is something that I find interesting. Obviously, I said purple was in last place. The reason
purple's nasty,
but something that's interesting.
Something that's grape.
Something that's interesting about purple being in last place though is the last time purple was used was in Super Bowl 46, 10 years ago. So you're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of the last time purple Gatorade was used in the Super Bowl. So do you see a 10-year? Do you see a 10-year anniversary and see a return in this game? I don't know. And then the reason none is there is that it kind of depends on where you guys think this game is going to come. So say this game goes into OT, or it does, it is decided in the final minutes. there may not be enough time for a team to celebrate, in a kind of like in a blowout win where you dump the Gatorade on the coach. They might just rush the field in celebration. If they win, you won't see the Gatorade dump. So that's kind of depending on the game. So I'll let you guys go around, make your picks. I think you guys already kind of did do your picks a little bit. I know Justin talked about orange, but kind of just wrap this up and I say we move on forward.
CJ?
All right.
Oh, yeah. I personally think the Gatorade color will be blue because blue in any shade is a superior Gatorade.
Blue was used last year, though. Just be aware of that.
So, blue's
will
the
they
best
repeat
Gatorade.
Will they repeat it?
Sure. Why not? It's the best.
Brian's getting into all the analytics and everything of
Gatorade,
of Gatorade. He's saying that it's not good to pick the same Gatorade 2 times in a row because that's why
it's going to be red, because red is the best flavor. All right, orange best flavor.
Right.
Nah, Justin, you don't know what in the world you're talking about. All right, that's like saying green's the best flavor. I don't trust anybody that says that. All right, next topic.
I'm gonna go red to finish it off, but I agree. Let's go on to the next topic.
All right, guys. So up next, we're going to talk about our favorite Super Bowl memories. We've touched on this in the fan box segment last week. We allowed our listeners to share with us their Super Bowl memories. So we're going to share ours coming up next. So don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Fumblerooski Podcast. Welcome back. You're listening to the Fumblerooski Podcast by Power 88 and Fans Only Sports Network in this collaboration between Robert Shelley's Pesky Pole Podcast and Brian Kostew's Down to the Wire Podcast. So Super Bowl's coming up. Lots of iconic moments that have happened throughout its history, and lots of them that we've experienced that have inspired us as football fans and as aspiring sports writers. So, guys, let's go around the table here. We'll go the same order as we did with the prop bets. But what are our favorite Super Bowl memories?
For me, my favorite Super Bowl memory has to be Super Bowl 42. Why? Because it's the Giants, and I'm a Giants fan talking here. And it's not only because of that. I think, in my opinion, that's one of the greatest upsets in Super Bowl history. I don't care about this whole 1969 Joe Namath against the Indianapolis Colts and all that, Broadway Joe. No, I'm talking about New York Giants versus Tom Brady's 16-0 team, choking in the Super Bowl, going up against a wild card team, by the way. David Tyree with the helmet catch. That doesn't get any better. Like, my dad wasn't even watching the Super Bowl until he heard everyone in the street yelling, "Hey!" And he turns on the game. He sees the catch. And then next thing you know, Burns gets the touchdown. And just seeing, like not Tom Brady choke. In my opinion, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time, as much as I love Tom Brady. But seeing him, like, the Patriots lose like that doesn't get any better. It has to be 42. And I understand I was maybe 6 at the time, whatever. I don't really remember. But in my eyes, seen before, a Super Bowl memory that I've seen, it would have to be 51, seeing Patriots come back and all. But those are my favorite two.
All right. So picture this. The year is 2014. The Patriots had not won a Super Bowl in 10 years. And there were questions on whether or not Tom Brady could win the big game again. And they start off 2-2. The sky is falling. Tom Brady is washed. It's over. Tom Brady's not going to play again in New England. Next thing you know, they rack off, 10-8 around. They get red hot. They wind up in the Super Bowl. And it was also in the midst of Deflategate and everything. And there was that back and forth game. It was the Super Bowl 49. It was the Seahawks versus the Patriots. It was a back and forth game to start. It was 14-0. It was 14-14 going into half. Then the Seahawks take a 10-point lead. And in the fourth quarter, we're like, uh-oh. Looks like we're getting another another Super Bowl loss for Tom Brady. And then he leads this beautiful comeback. He wound up with, over 300, around 350 yards, 4 touchdown passes. He had 2 picks, but I mean, the other stats kind of overshadow all the other parts. And then the Seahawks drive down a miracle catch by Jermaine Kearse, where it just bounces off one leg, off one arm, off his helmet, and then just lands in his basket. And next thing you know, they're at the goal line. Wilson drops back, throws it, intercepted. Malcolm Butler. Patriots win the Super Bowl. It was probably I believe that was my first year of like legitimately like following football, and that will go down as literally one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history. In fact, I think it is the greatest because, it was that one moment that defined the Super Bowl, or that defined that one game. And that is something that will go down as, that was awesome. That was literally the greatest Super Bowl of all time, in my opinion.
Well, when I look at, as a Pats fan watching quite a few Super Bowls, I think of the 2016-2017 season. Everyone's like, oh, Deflategate, which we now know to be false. But, that's a story for another day. And Brady suspended for 4 games. The Pats upset the Cardinals, who had been to the NFC Championship the previous season. They beat Miami with Garoppolo and Brissett. They upset Houston with Brissett. Then they lose a heartbreaker to the Bills, like 16-0. And then Brady comes back and like he goes 11-1 when like the remaining 12 games. We go into the playoffs. We beat Houston. We smack around Pittsburgh. And then all of a sudden, Atlanta's kicking our butt, and it's 28-3. And then we all know the story. The Falcons fans have to hear jokes about this on the internet every day. But, yeah, 28-3. They come back. I mean, I don't know how. Brady just wills his team to victory. And, Julian Edelman also making the best catch in Super Bowl history, but we don't talk about that. And then, of course, overtime, just the James White touchdown. I mean, that's just insane. Think about it this way. To go from, like, the lowest low to the highest high, or flip that if you're a Falcons fan. You're beating the Patriots, you're on top of the world, and the next thing you know, you still don't have a Super Bowl because you choked. I watched that game in its entirety. By halftime, I thought it was over. When they opened up with that second touchdown, I was like, yeah, that's it. It's game. But no. And this just shows why even like in his final seasons, like you could never, ever count out Tom Brady.
I'm going to keep my answer short and sweet. My favorite as a Patriots fan was 28-3. I think the favorite of everyone else is the Philly special. And I think probably one of the best moments of all time, like completely unbiased, was the James Harrison 100-yard pick six.
I was honestly going to say that I was going to point out Super Bowl 53 as well. Just as a game, that game has so many amazing moments in it. Whether you think of Larry Fitzgerald breakaway touchdown, you think of the
43.
Yeah, 53 was Pats Rams.
What are you talking about?
You said 53. It's Super Bowl 43.
I'm going to be referring to 53 in a second as well. So obviously Super Bowl 43, the heroics there by Larry Fitzgerald on the breakaway touchdown. You have the amazing throw to Santonio Holmes in the final seconds of the game. Amazing stuff that happened in that game, and just completely unbiased. Again, that game just is like kind of an amazing standard to look at. But then, as a Patriots fan, I do look at Super Bowl 53. Now, obviously, it didn't have the glitz and glamour that 49 and 51 had for me as a Patriots fan, but watching that game, it felt like you were watching the cover kind of come close on the book of the Patriots dynasty. But it didn't feel like it was coming apart in a way that felt like that kind of probably is the reality of how it did come apart, where there was a lot of dysfunction towards the end, and Brady and Belichick kind of fell apart. And we're kind of at odds towards the end. To me, that is where the Patriots dynasty, as we know it, kind of did end in that era. And obviously, it wasn't the most exciting game, but still, whenever you needed Tom Brady down in that last second, he was able to get whatever I thought was left in him out to connect with Rob Gronkowski and what we thought was going to be the final catch of his career. Obviously, Sony Michel has the heroics in him from the goal line to punch it in and take it in. But I don't know. There's something just special about Super Bowl 53, where obviously I still look at the other games and I'm just like, those are objectively better games. And I will say I probably even favorite those games a little bit more. But just looking back on that game and knowing that was it, you could feel that was going to be like the last one. I mean, you got some false hope the next season when you brought in AB and you brought in some guys like that. It was like, oh shoot, they might be able to run it back and go and win back to back, and then that's how it ends. But I remember watching that and I was like, all right, it feels like this is going to be it.
Even though that Super Bowl was the worst Super Bowl literally of all time.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good Super Bowl. But
in all honesty,
in terms of the game, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a good game, but
like the story behind it, you mean?
Just knowing the story behind it, I remember watching the game. The last game, in my opinion, where Tom Brady played like himself in New England was that Kansas City Chiefs game. In the AFC Championship game. That entire next season, Tom Brady never looked like himself. At least according to the standard that we held Tom Brady to. So, although Tom Brady wasn't at his greatest, although everything just wasn't in sync for the Pats in that game, we still did hold that amazing Rams team to only 3 points. So yeah,
you make an excellent point, man, because regarding with that game, it may have been the worst Super Bowl of all time, but essentially it was a great defensive game in my opinion. You have the Rams defense, the Patriots defense, that game, and like we said before, like Brady's last real game as a Patriot was against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game that year. And I'm in my opinion, that's one of my favorite Brady games of all time, because here it is, you're going up against the MVP candidate Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead, scrutiny weather, laser in Brady's eyes. I think you remember that and all, and to pull off like that to win your 6th Super Bowl in that same year, great.
Yeah, well, you guys all raise great points regarding favorite Super Bowl memories. Mine is going to stay Super Bowl 49. That Malcolm Butler interception was one of the great turning points in any game, big deciding moment, and it was the most exciting moment. It was awesome. But anyways, we do have to move on. So coming up next, we're going to get into our Super Bowl predictions, and we're going to cover this upcoming Super Bowl 56. We'll get into that. So don't go anywhere. This is the Fumblerooski Podcast. All right, guys. So we have covered our favorite Super Bowl memories. We've done some prop bets. Now we are on to our final predictions for Super Bowl 56. This is it. It all comes down to this. All of this coverage that we have all done over the entirety of this 2021 season. I remember like it was yesterday when we were, predicting everything that was going to happen during for the 2021 season during the preseason with Justin Tucker, who unfortunately is out tonight. But
doesn't it literally just feel like yesterday too? Like the NFL was doing the whole Super Bowl 50 ads, like when they changed their logo to gold for the year and they were doing that whole initiative. I mean, we're already 6 years past that. I mean, just the way that things have flown ever since, it's nuts.
It's really crazy. Time is starting to fly, and it's just unbelievable. But anyways, we are going to get into our Super Bowl predictions. So give us your team pick and give us a score.
Cincinnati Bengals. I have them winning by a field goal, but the score, to answer your question, Adam, I say 28-25.
28-25. I have the Rams, and I know I've picked against the Bengals every week this postseason, but they kind of deserve it. They don't have the best offensive line, and that's not to say that I'm rooting against them. It's just to say that I don't love their chances. It makes them an underdog. Just like I said last week when I was talking about them. But I have the Rams winning this game. There will be a lot of scoring, but it will be a very sloppy game. I have 30-27 Rams.
I don't know what to think. This is something I've wrestled with all week because I knew at one point I was going to have to say this on air. I am getting like 2017, 2018 Eagles vibes from this Bengals team. And everything in the world is telling me to pick against Cincy. I mean, look at that Rams team. They're better than them in every category. But you know what? They upset the 1-seed Titans. They marched into Arrowhead and shocked the Chiefs. So you know what? Why not a Super Bowl win? It's going to be close. It's going to be a high-scoring game. And I also think it's going to be by a field goal. But put me down for a Cincinnati Bengals victory. Evan McPherson kicking the game winner, 38-35.
Okay. I am going exact opposite of all of you. The Bengals are going to win 14-10. Each team, having very few guys have Super Bowl experience, are going to come out in the first half. They're going to play a little bit more conservative. So probably by half, we're going to see like a 7-3 game. And that's not even an exaggeration. But my hot take has been, and still remains, the Bengals' main offensive weapon will not be Jamar Chase. It will be CJ, who's your mama. 150 receiving yards minimum. Call it.
All right, and I guess to close it out, I'll give my prediction. So, I really want the Bengals to win this game. I do. I think that everyone inside, actually, I'm gonna say it. I think everyone in the country right now is a Bengals fan because I don't think Rams fans exist. To be honest with you, I don't think that they. I mean, like, have you seen? Did you see the game? Like, did you see that
Super
game?
Bowl rally too?
Oh my God! Yeah, they
It's pathetic. There's no one there, so
they couldn't even fit high school stands, let alone like a whole stadium.
Exactly. So I think everyone in the nation basically is a Bengals fan right now. However, while I do think Sean McVay can be a little bit goofy at times, I think that he's actually a decent head coach. Zach Taylor, on the other hand, I think has been very lucky up to this point that he hasn't cost the Bengals their season yet. I'm not really high on the whole Zach Taylor train. And obviously Sean McVay's been in this situation before. He's obviously, you guys have referred to it as the worst Super Bowl of all time. He doesn't forget that. He doesn't forget the fact that his team, which had one of the most high-flying offenses that year, only put up 3 points in the biggest game of the season.
They had Jared Goff. What do you expect?
That was like a good season of Jared Goff, though.
There hasn't been a good season of Jared Goff.
You still had good weapons that year.
Cooper Kupp was gone. Yeah. Their top weapons were Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods.
And
you still had a good team. You still had a good offense around you, and you still had a good team. So, listen, I think McVay is going to know that, and I think he is going to have a chip on his shoulder in this game. I don't think that he's going to want this to happen again. And I think that I also just think that since these O-line is just going to show their woes and they're going to be able to get at Joe Burrow. I do think that the Bengals, in spite of Zach Taylor, though, are going to keep it a close game. My prediction is that it's going to be 27-23 Rams, and it's going to come down to like the final, and it's going to be decided in the fourth quarter.
Okay, first of all, Justin, I know you wanted to say something, but first of all, you're talking about Zach Taylor like he's Mike McCarthy. Okay, you're talking like he has all this superstar power in front of him, yet the team needs to carry his fat, across the finish line. He relies on the superstar talent. That's not Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor could arguably be the reason why they're here. It's a mix of Burrow and Chase connection. It's a mix of Joe Mixon coming in the club. But when that hasn't happened, it's Zach Taylor's good play calling.
They've won in spite of him this year.
Oh no.
Yes, they've won in spite of him. Obviously, the other thing too is that I trust Burrow, I trust Chase, I trust Higgins, I trust all those guys. They're still incredibly young. And I know Matthew Stafford doesn't have a lot of winning experience either, though, because he was stuck in the hellhole that is Detroit for 12 years. So I understand that too. But just looking at this, I mean, I want the Bengals to win more than anything. But I also really want to see Matthew Stafford, have a championship. And I think that he's going to be fired up to do that too. You have the connection with Cooper Kupp. I think that Cooper Kupp, since he's going to find a way to contain him for at least a decent portion of the game, but there's a chance like Julio Jones in Super Bowl 51. Obviously, it didn't end up coming to fruition, but in certain situations, they were able to get him alone and were able to connect with him for big plays. That's how I see Cooper Kupp in this game. But I think unlike Super Bowl 51, the Rams are going to have more opportunities to get to guys like OBJ. They're going to have, obviously you were talking about Cam Akers fumbling. He's still going to be a part of that offense. There's going to be guys that are going to get involved with the tight end game too. So I think I do have the Rams taking this one.
Well, regarding with this, listen, let me add one more thing. Well, regarding with this game, this is one of the bust for the Rams. If the Rams lose the Super Bowl, this is a terrible season. Why? Because the amount of acquisitions they've done throughout the season.
Exactly.
Trading for Von Miller, for an example, getting Odell Beckham Jr. Like this is one of bust. They're not only during the offseason. Hold up. They're not only during the offseason traded all their assets for Matt Stafford, but you got guys like Von Miller on that team and Odell. Like in my eyes, the Rams, they shouldn't even be in the Super Bowl. Everyone knows if the Buccaneers went to OT in that Rams and Buccaneers game, the Buccaneers will be at this point. And everyone knows that Antoine Winfield Jr. did not mess up that ball game. The Buccaneers will be in that game. Everyone knows it. But at the same exact time, I'm rooting for the Bengals. Why? Because Joe.
I'm rooting for the Bengals, Justin. Yeah, I'm rooting for the Bengals, but I think the Rams are going to win. That's the thing with me. I'm Bengals all the freaking way.
At the same time, Sean McVay, he has made ridiculous calls throughout his career. Like, look, for example, in the Super Bowl 53, for example, calling all those timeouts. Like,
just look at the last game he played in with. Just look at the last game he played in with all the challenges. I mean,
indeed. But at the same time, yes, the Rams do deserve where they are, but I think they're going to blow it. And listen, I
hope they do, but
no question. But at the same time, I always say that the biggest Super Bowl fumble and upset of all time will be 42. But listen, this here, in my opinion, you might disagree, but if the Bengals pull this thing off with Joe Burrow being his second year in the NFL and come back from a torn ACL and win this game, and plus if Jamar Chase is able to battle against Jalen Ramsey, because Jamar Chase has talked a lot throughout this week, but if they're able to do this, this is an upset, and this will be definitely a disappointing on the Rams side, because you spent all this money wasting 100%. All these trades on a team that couldn't go all the way.
Because, I mean, listen, if the Rams lose this game, I mean, there's a chance that OBJ decides to come back and he tries to, because that he might see it as his best opportunity to go win, but
no question.
Nothing's guaranteed. Again, Von Miller
still have Robert Woods too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Robert Woods is going to be coming back too. So there's a chance that the Rams just say, yeah, we don't want to pay OBJ, because there's some conversations now that people think that OBJ could be paid like a number one wide receiver again. Now, whether you agree with that or not, those are the conversations that are going on. So maybe LA just says, yeah, listen, we put a lot of money into the season. We don't know if we really want to be paying OBJ again, especially since we got Robert Woods on our books. So I do kind of agree. I agree with Justin here. I think it is kind of an all or nothing thing. And I think that the Rams are just going to try to, I mean, listen, the Bengals are extremely young. I think that at least for the next 4 or 5 years or so, they're going to be in it, whether, it's going to be kind of a three-headed monster, in my opinion, in the AFC with the Chiefs, Bills, and them. That's how I think it's going to end up.
Mm-hmm. No question. And regarding with your point, you're right with the Odell Beckham Jr. situation, because I read a report yesterday with Odell, he will consider taking a little bit of a pay cut to stay with the Rams. He thinks the Rams is basically like home at the same time, but we shall see, boys.
100%.
This game's going to be decided, I believe, in the trenches. So that offensive line going up against that defensive line, the defensive line being the Rams' defensive line and the offense being the Bengals, that's one of the great mismatches in Super Bowl history, and that is why I have the Rams winning that game. And I don't think any coaching or any offensive talent on either side can, overshadow that, because you have Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, and Aaron Donald attacking that weak offensive line that has allowed Joe Burrow to be sacked the most out of any quarterback this season.
It also allowed him to get that torn ACL. Just remember that. It also allowed him to get that torn ACL.
Against a similar defensive line in Washington.
And this is a more improved offensive line. I know he's still the most sacked quarterback this year, but as CJ has told me a lot off camera, we've talked about this. It is all pretty solid on the left side. Just the right, from center to right, it's terrible. They really don't have much there. And on the interior, that's exactly where Aaron Donald is in the interior, and I think they're going to take advantage of that. I do.
Well, yeah, they wanted to shore up his left side because they didn't want to turn him into Joe Theismann. I mean, they already tore his ACL once, so they didn't want to see that happen again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically. All right. Any other thoughts on this game before we move on to the next topic?
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's do this. So, all of our predictions all set. So let's get into some fun stuff. So, what is our favorite game foods? We'll get to that on the fan box. Don't go anywhere. You won't want to miss this. You are listening to the Fumblerooski Podcast. All right. So here we are. We have reached the end of our show, and that means we are on to the Fumblerooski fan box. So we post a question box every Monday on our Instagram, and you can respond with questions, hot takes, and more, and we will discuss it and give you a shout out on our podcast. Respond to next week's fan box question to be featured on our show. So the question of the week is, tell us your favorite game food. So this will be a fun topic. So starting off, our first response was CJ, who said he said ribs.
Ooh.
What do we think of that? It's an interesting one.
Oh no,
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, just let me explain real quick. Usually during the playoffs, whenever I'm at home and for like the playoffs, my dad usually will make ribs, and it's good, with some nice dry rub on that, and yeah, falls right off the bone. Good stuff.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I love ribs. Just I never saw it as exclusively a game, food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you, but still good though.
All right. Moving on, Patrick Williver, who's a fan of both our podcast and Robert Shelley's.
The OG of my podcast.
He said buffalo chicken dip. Now, I don't know about you, but anything buffalo is amazing,
No.
especially for game food. You just can't go wrong with that.
Except
Yeah,
the Bills.
Adam's right.
Except the Bills. Screw those guys.
Yeah, screw
Oh,
those
yeah,
guys.
yeah. Then that doesn't happen in the Super Bowl.
Oh, sure.
At least not wins.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just 4 straight losses. How the hell do you screw up that many times, Buffalo?
Wow.
My God.
That's
It-
another
it-
thing my dad makes, that buffalo chicken and cheese dip. Man, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
That's so rough about the Buffalo Bills. But you know what isn't rough is anything buffalo flavored. That stuff is good. But anyways, moving on. Caroline Brown said
Uh-oh.
mac and cheese.
Bro, low-key
I'm-
mac and cheese goes with anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I
You
kinda
can't go wrong with mac and cheese. But as Super Bowl food, I'm not cooking up some mac and cheese on Super Bowl Sunday.
I don't know. Well, you need something to eat that isn't, junk food. So, I mean, mac
That's
and
what
cheese.
Super Bowl is for. Is just get out
Low-key,
the grill and get some junk food out there. That's it.
Yeah, but
No, you're not capping.
I see, but Rob, I think you're taking it from the idea of having literally just sitting down on the couch to watch the Super Bowl with just a bowl of mac and cheese and just spoon feeding yourself with that.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
No, but
I don't.
CJ's talking from
when I'm-
experience.
No, actually, I'm not. I want to though.
No, but when I'm thinking of Caroline saying this, though, I'm thinking of it being more like, when you think of Thanksgiving dinner, you think of mashed potatoes, and it's a side. It's kind of a side to the turkey and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could make the case that the mac and cheese is just kind of the mashed potatoes of this kind of an event. Like you could have it on the side with something, and it's a good compliment stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I still don't.
I could see it working to complement something, but no, I'm not just gonna sit down with a bowl of Kraft and just kind of munch away. No.
For me, mine's just wings, some hot wings, and some shrimp, and just dip it, man. Just some simple stuff, and just have some chips for later on. That's a tradition my mom, my dad have during the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Mhm.
Just
Can't go wrong
something
with that.
simple, not going all out, but I love CJ's thing with the what was it, steak? You said
Ribs.
Ribs.
Said ribs.
Ribs. Yeah, I would definitely do that.
I love some steak tips for
Simple
Oh,
game for
yeah.
simple game for
Oh,
3 hours.
steak.
Mhm.
Steak tips always go hard.
Oh yeah, steak.
I can go
Anything
for some wings right
barbecue,
now.
wings, pizza is fine.
Yeah, pizza's
Any
good.
junk food. But
Yeah.
Robert, you mentioned that's what the Super Bowl is for. You're gonna hate this next answer.
Adam,
Uh-oh.
I just gotta
Who is
tell you
it?
though, knowing Adam, knowing your house when it's come to game days, I've been at your house during game days. I mean,
Yep.
Same.
you pull out all the stops on game days. It's kind of absurd.
When Adam, this was
I go all out.
Adam. When was it?
Oh,
Was
I
the
know.
Bucks Saints game of last year in the playoffs. We were all supposed to go to B-dubs. Of course, it was the day that I got back up to Massachusetts to go back to school. I hit a deer on my way to B-dubs, busted my headlight. We get to B-dubs. B-dubs is full, hour and a half wait. So we just go back to Adam's house, and all he can give us is pizza and a dog that, is
pizza
very...
and a 12-pack of course.
Yeah.
And we called it a day. All right.
Robert,
you're gonna hate this next answer if you only like junk food on Super Bowl. Sarah Finnemore said salad.
Oh God.
Whoever said salad, you're doing football wrong.
Oh my God. Do you live in California?
I think someone I think someone hurt her.
Yeah, she lives in Franklin, Massachusetts.
I'm aware.
Sarah, blink twice if you're okay.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Everyone needs to eat healthy, right? I get that whole thing. But it's kind of like one of those things. It's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, and it's Super Bowl Sunday where you're able to just sit down the entire day, turn on the TV, and eat like anything you want, as much as you want. All right? Anything that is a vegetable, be damned on Super Bowl Sunday. All right?
The only thing vegetable related should be you on Super Bowl Sunday. You should be the vegetable on Super Bowl Sunday.
And I mean, I love me some salads. I eat salads probably 3-4 times a week, right? Get some crispy chicken on there. That's some good salad. Right.
I need some salad dressing too. I feel like you can't just eat straight up vegetables.
On some croutons, you got yourself a meal.
Croutons, a little bit of bacon bits, but not Super Bowl Sunday. Hell no.
I love hard-boiled eggs in it too, like some chopped up eggs.
Yes, yeah.
No.
Let me say my Super Bowl my Super Bowl snack will always be, this is more a family tradition than anything. My family always does just some tortilla chips and a three-layer dip of salsa, sour cream, and cheese. Very simple.
Like
respectable.
It does.
All right, so let's finish up these responses, though, and then we can get on to our favorites. But so Tyson Tate said, it's always been a tradition in my family, but mini hot dogs and meatballs and cheese dip.
Yes.
I feel
that sounds good.
I feel the meatballs. I
asked him about this, if they were like combined, if he dips the hot dogs and meatballs in the cheese dip. He said it's all separate. So it's like 3 different things.
No, but what you got to do is you got to take the mini hot dogs, you got to wrap them in the crescent rolls. Oh my God, that's where it's at. Y'all got to trust me on that one.
Low-key.
That used to be a Shelley family like dinner at least once a week. Mini hot dogs wrapped in crescent rolls. Get a little cheese in there.
It's some pretty solid stuff. Anyways, up next is so Tyson Tate again, and he put in poutine. I think that's it's Poutine. So I had to Google this one. It's
you didn't know what poutine?
I didn't know what it was, but it's fries with gravy on top and cheese curds on it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty damn good.
Look, I have had it. It is good. I've been to Canada. That's
I was about to say it's a Canadian favorite.
It's yeah. You know, they eat it while they're watching hockey and drinking their maple syrup. It's really good. Trust me. I would recommend it.
Adam,
well, this Canadian's watching the Super Bowl.
I'm surprised you actually didn't know what poutine was, Adam, since one of our friends, Pat Edwards, is a giant lover of it.
He never mentioned it to me.
Well, he loves cheese curds at least, so there's that.
Well, he is a Packers fan. Cheesehead, Wisconsin with that Wisconsin cheese. Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT.
For another 2 months till he gets traded, but you know.
Yep,
bound to happen.
He might even retire. To be honest, you never know. But
if Aaron Rodgers retires, that this Hall of Fame class for 2027 will be absurd. Honestly, here's the thing though. It'll just be it's gonna be oh yeah, Brady the greatest of all time, Rodgers amazing, obviously great quarterback, 4-time MVP, and then Ben Roethlisberger is just gonna be in the back, just being like, hey guys, how we doing?
Eli Manning's gonna be in there too because he's not gonna be a first ballot.
Oh shoot, yeah, it's just gonna be a
wild. Drew Brees will be first ballot.
Yeah, Drew Brees will probably be first ballot. I'm just if Aaron Rodgers retires, the 2027 Hall of Fame class might be the most stacked of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. You mentioned Eli Manning. It's crazy how, his entire Hall of Fame case rests on the fact that he beat the greatest of all time twice.
He won
in the biggest game of the year.
because he was the only one to do it besides Nick Foles, but like in a spectacular
that's my point.
fashion. And that's just a genuine fact. In my opinion, he would have had 3, but you know who ended that legacy? It was Randall Cobb and the Packers in that wildcard game. And that's the day that the Giants not died, but like was over the franchise.
All right, the Giants died when they took the picture on the boat. Okay, let's just
it was over before that game even started, buddy.
Yeah. Trust you. Anything to say about the boat?
The Giants have never.
I
find it incredible that the Giants have never had a winning record since that picture was taken.
It's a beautiful thing. They're not going to release it next year.
Odell was the problem. Yeah.
But in my eyes, Odell.
And one other thing to add on to that with Eli Manning, I believe outside of those 2 seasons where they won the Super Bowl, I don't think he's won a playoff game outside of those two Super Bowl runs. So it's either been he goes all the way, or
it completely ruined this man. It completely ruined him.
Nah, he ruined us.
Wow.
But with Manning, people forget he was in a wild card situation 2 times. He was able to make it out. But in my eyes, you may see him as he's not first ballot, but in my eyes, he's first ballot. But in my opinion, greatest of all time goes to Brady, no question. I'm not going to sound like those scrutiny fans, but
All right, guys. Just before we end the show, how about we go around the table and talk about our so now we can finally talk about our favorite Super Bowl foods. We can go quickly, maybe a brief explanation. Go.
Shrimp with hot wings, because like I said before, I just like a tradition with my mom, my dad, and I. It's special to us, but yeah.
I am a big Doritos and wings fan. Buffalo wings are both of those. Oh my God. Those are essentials for me. CJ?
This is kind of a cop-out because I already said ribs, but y'all have not been to my dad's house for a football game. He goes all out. We got assorted meats and cheeses, some fruit, some chips, some like chicken, maybe some meatballs. It's good stuff. Just you got to go to my dad's house for a game. That's chef's kiss.
Good stuff. Robert?
Chips with the 3 cheese dip. And Adam, if Sarah is with you for the Super Bowl and she tries to go for a salad, throw it out the window. Okay. Tell her that's from wings. Robert, 2,000 miles away in Denver, Colorado. Okay.
I'll hand her some wings. Give her a taste of America.
Yes. Thank you. Kostiw, wrap us up.
I'm going to kind of go with CJ and just say, obviously those classic foods are always a big hit. I remember one Super Bowl I had a bet with myself that, about the size of a cereal bowl. I remember I was 11 and I filled it like completely with ice cream. And my goal was to finish it before the end of the Super Bowl halftime show. That was my goal.
Did you do it?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Wow. I don't even think I could do that low key.
Oh yeah, no, it was tough, but it was fun.
All right, Robert and Brian, you guys want to close out your shows before give a little bit of an outro for you guys, and then I'll close out the show.
Yeah, sure. Robert, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So thank you guys, as always, for listening to this beautiful voice. I appreciate it. My guys, Adam and Mr. Kostiw, will be on tomorrow, Sunday. Well, Super Bowl Sunday, but more importantly, the Lord's Day. They will be on with me on my show. So make sure you come over and check that out tomorrow if you enjoyed whatever kind of slight information these guys have given you.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this Down to the Wire Fumblerooski and Pesky Pole Podcast special. It's been a blast to have all these guys on and to be on with these guys in general. It has been a ton of fun. Obviously, today's actually a very special day for myself as well in terms of podcasting. Today is actually the 2-year anniversary of Down to the Wire. I've been going for 2 years strong. We started everything 2 years ago in the Koffler Center right here on Bryant University's campus with my 2 co-hosts at the time, Carter Adams and Tyler Tucker. Unfortunately, Tyler couldn't make it on the show today, and my other co-host, Tyler Stringfellow, also had a commitment issue, so he wasn't able to make it in. But obviously, there's been so much that we've been able to do over these past 2 years, whether it be athlete interviews or just casual sports talk. I'm so grateful for everything, and I'm so grateful to have been able to break down from prop bets to favorite Super Bowl foods across this show. It's been an amazing time, and we will see you guys next time.